Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tips. My name is Julian, and this is the weekend pickups episode for week 24 of the fantasy season. This is the episode where I suggest players that you should consider adding to help you close out the week with a win. This is especially important this week because it is the fantasy playoffs for the majority of people. But before we get started, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to keep tweeting there to help you guys out. Let's jump right into it now, and let's start with the schedule for this weekend. And as you can see here, on Friday there are 10 teams playing, on Saturday there are 24, and on Sunday there are 14. So go ahead and check your lineup, but odds are you won't have a whole lot of room on Saturday, but you may have room to add players on Friday and Sunday. Obviously, that's not going to be the case for every single person. Somebody might actually have room on Saturday. So I'm going to continue my usual format of suggesting players that you can add for Friday and Saturday, and then Friday and Sunday, and then Saturday and Sunday. The first section is going to be Friday and Saturday, and there are 4 teams that play both Friday and Saturday. Those teams are Colorado, Florida, the Islanders, and the St. Louis Blues. The number one guy that I would add is Robert Thomas of the St. Louis Blues. Why? Well, the dude's incredibly hot right now, playing on a great line with Tarasenko and Buchnevich, and as long as this dude stays hot, he's someone that definitely deserves to be on your team. Plus, the Blues have another good schedule next week, so Thomas is not just a waste of an ad for the weekend, he'll also help you out next week. Then I have Mason Marchment of the Florida Panthers, and he's been playing pretty well. He's playing on a third line with Lundell and with Sam Reinhart, which is one of the best third lines in the entire league. And because of that, Marchment has been producing, and he makes for a decent ad. Then I have Valeri Nichushkin, and while he's not playing on the best second line anymore because Kadri is injured, he's still playing on that top power play in Colorado, and therefore still has a very good shot of putting up some points. Then I have Ivan Barbashev of the St. Louis Blues playing on a line with Kyrou and Shen, and he has been producing as of late, so I do like him as an ad. Then I have Brock Nelson, who over the last couple games has not done a whole lot, but before that was on an absolute huge streak, so hopefully he can find that magic again, and if he does, he's definitely a really good ad. And then I have Anton Lundell of the Florida Panthers playing on that line with Marchment and with Sam Reinhart, and it's a pretty good line. Lundell has been really solid all year, so definitely don't mind the ad there. Then I have Carter Verhaeghe of the Florida Panthers playing on the top line with Alexander Barkov, always a great place to be. And then J.G. Pageau of the New York Islanders coming off a hat trick. So he's definitely someone who's quite hot right now for the Isles. Definitely ride that momentum. He could be someone that could put up some points. Then I have Anders Lee of the New York Islanders. He's someone who was pretty hot, seems to have slowed down a lot like Brock Nelson, but he's definitely someone who could potentially put up points as well. And last but not least, I have Brandon Saad of the St. Louis Blues, who plays on the top line with Perreault and O'Reilly, and he's quite hot right now. At only 16% rostered, he's definitely someone that you could be adding to help you out for those 2 nights. Then if you check your lineup and you see that you have room on Friday and on Sunday, which is the most likely case, well, these are the teams that play on those nights. Boston, Buffalo, Carolina, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, and Winnipeg. The number one guy to stream is Joel Eriksson Ek of the Minnesota Wild, playing on a line with Foligno and Greenway. He's been pretty solid all year, wins a lot of faceoffs, and has been putting up some points lately, so definitely a solid streamer there. Then Tage Thompson, who's been really good all year as well, 60% rostered, so just squeaks into this list. And he's been shooting the puck a lot all year, playing on a really solid line, playing top power play, putting up a lot of points. There's not much I can say that's bad about Tage Thompson. And then I have Jake DeBrusk, who's very, very hot right now on a point streak, been scoring some goals, playing on a really good line with Marchand Bergeron. As long as this dude is hot, definitely a really good streamer and definitely a really good ad for this weekend. Then I have Marcus Foligno of the Minnesota Wild, who I already mentioned plays in line with Joel Eriksson Ek. And the dude also hits a lot, so it gives you a safe floor there, assuming your league has hits. And then I have Alex Killorn and Anthony Cirelli. They both play on a line together on the second line in Tampa Bay. Killorn does play on the top power play, so I do like him a little bit better than Cirelli, but both have been relatively decent lately, and both are good ads for this weekend. And then I have Eric Holla of the Boston Bruins, and even with Pasternak injured, he still managed to get a goal last night. The dude's insanely hot, and he's been winning a lot of faceoffs lately as well, so that's definitely something that you could add him for as well. And Holla, as long as he stays hot, another guy that you definitely could be adding for this weekend. And then I have Jeff Skinner of the Buffalo Sabres playing on the line with Tage Thompson and with Alex Tuck, top power play as well. And he's been pretty hot lately as well, so definitely someone who is not a bad ad at all. Then I have Alex Tuck, who's the other part of that line, and lately he's been finally turning it on again. He was cold for quite some time, but he seems to be back, and therefore is someone that I like to add. Then I have Matt Boldy, who has a star next to him because he currently is injured, but could be back for this weekend, so I have him there just in case. He's on a pretty solid line when he is healthy with Gaudreau and with Fiala, and if he's healthy, he's definitely a pretty solid add. Until then, Tyson Jost is skating on the left wing on his line, and he could be an add. I'd probably move him to the end of this list if you're desperate and if you can find nobody else, and if Boldy obviously is still injured. And then I have Paul Stastny of the Winnipeg Jets, who's playing on the top line with Scheifele and with Nikolai Ehlers. It's a pretty good place to be, and he has been producing as of late, so Stastny is honestly a really good add. And Winnipeg also has those off nights next week, so I really do like Stastny for that as well. And I have Charlie Coyle and Craig Smith of the Boston Bruins, both playing on the third line in Boston, and usually the third line in Boston doesn't have a whole lot of fantasy value, except lately they've been putting up some points. So as long as they can continue to do so, they're pretty good adds. Then I have Jordan Greenway, who plays with Foligno and with Eriksson Ek on that line in Minnesota, and lately he's been playing pretty well. He also gives you a relatively safe floor with hits. Then I have Victor Olofsson and Casey Mittelstadt of the Buffalo Sabres. They play on the second line together in Buffalo, and lately Mittelstadt has been getting top power play time, and both of them have been playing really, really well and putting up some points. So I do like adding one of them. And then I have Nino Niederreiter of the Carolina Hurricanes playing on the third line with Jordan Staal. Not my favorite place to be, but he has been managing to produce semi-decently all year, so I don't hate the ad either. And I have Kyle Okposo, who's being moved up and down the lineup, but no matter where he plays, he's managing to score goals and contribute some decent peripherals as well, so I don't hate the ad for Kyle Okposo in deep leagues. Then I have Frederick Gaudreau, only 2% rostered, but he does get to play with Fiala and with either Boldy or Jost. It's a pretty good line, and he does manage to put up a point every couple of games or so. The rest of his peripherals are not very good, but at least he'll get you a point every couple of games. Then Seth Jarvis is playing on the top line Carolina, although he's been cold for a few games now, so hopefully he can turn that around. But as long as he's playing with Aho, there's definitely a chance that he puts up points. Martin Necas playing on the second line with Trocheck in Carolina. He's been pretty bad for the past few weeks, and he's not really been that great all year, but the opportunity is there playing on their second line. Then I have Zach Stafford, and I can throw in Lowry here as well. They both play on the third line in Winnipeg. Probably not going to put up that many points, but Sanford does give you a relatively safe floor with the peripherals he's managing to put up, so I don't hate it. Then I have Nick Paul and Ross Colton of the Tampa Bay Lightning, both playing on their third line. Both put up some semi-decent peripherals and have been relatively hot lately, so they could potentially put up some points for you as well. Now, if you need a forward to stream for Saturday and Sunday, there are 6 teams that play both those days: Anaheim, Dallas, Nashville, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, and Washington. And the number one guy to stream is Josh Norris of the Ottawa Senators. Dude's been really, really good lately, been scoring goals, playing on the top line with Tkachuk and with Batherson, also top power play. Really can't go wrong with Josh Norris. Then I have Tanner Jeannot of the Nashville Predators. Dude's been really, really good all year, putting up a lot of hits, especially lately, and he scores goals, gets points. There's really not much that you can say bad about Tanner Jeannot this season. If you're not in a hits league, though, I would probably drop him down a few spots. Then I have Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators, and he's someone who's been really hot lately as well. He's on quite a few game point streak now, and he's playing some really good hockey, plays top power play. Not much wrong I can say about how Tim Stützle is playing right now. Then I have Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks, and he hasn't been the hottest, hasn't been that bad. He's a decent option. I think if he's available, he's someone that you can definitely consider streaming for this weekend. Adam Henrique is someone who should be way more than 11% rostered. Gets about the same amount of points as Trevor Zegras, same amount of peripherals as well, honestly. And he's only 11% rostered, so he's definitely someone who's a solid add if he's available. Ryan Johansson is someone who's also a really, really good add, coming off his first career hat trick, playing on the top line with Forsberg, top power play with Forsberg. Definitely someone who, especially while he's hot, ride him. Then Mikael Granlund plays second line with Kunnin and Tolvanen, not the best second line, but doesn't get to play on that top power play, so that's kind of his saving grace. Now, for Rickard Rakell of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's playing on the line with Malkin and Carter. It's a pretty good line. He's not getting top power play, so it's not as valuable as some of the top guys in Pittsburgh, but he's still someone who does shoot the puck a decent amount and is getting a pretty decent deployment, so definitely someone who could potentially put up some points for you. Then I have Ryan Getzlaf if he is healthy. I'm not sure if he will be. He seems to be missing games here and there. I have no idea what's going on with him. But hopefully he's healthy because he is retiring at the end of the year, so hopefully he gets some more games in. If he does, he plays in the top line, top power play, so definitely has a pretty good deployment, and I don't mind the add for Getzlaf. Then Anthony Mantha of the Washington Capitals plays on their second line, and he's not doing too badly lately. Then I have Jeff Carter playing on that second line with Malkin and Raquel. Hasn't been the best, but has a better deployment than he did just a week ago, so I don't mind the add there. And then TJ Oshie, who's been brutal, but he's still TJ Oshie, still getting second line time. So I'm still going to ride him over anybody else on this list. Yakov Trenin of the Nashville Predators playing on that line with Tanner Jeannot, and he's been producing as of late as well, so I don't mind him at only 2% rostered. Connor Brown, who hasn't really been producing a lot lately and isn't getting top 6 time anymore, is on the third line, but still is probably their best bet to get a point if you're really desperate and you want to throw a dart at somebody. Then Denis Goryanov plays on the second line in Dallas, but hasn't really been very good all year. And then Garnet Hathaway, who plays on the fourth line in Washington, but will put up a pretty safe floor for hits and could potentially put up a goal or a point here and there as well. Jumping into defenseman now, the number 1 D-man to grab is Radko Gudas. The dude's been really good lately. Been smashing the body around like crazy, and he's actually got 2 goals in his last 3 games. Now, don't get me wrong, the goals are not going to continue, but he's been really good just for that safe floor with hits. And if you're in a hitting league, he's the best add. If you're not in a hitting league, I wouldn't touch him probably. Then I have Jared Spurgeon of the Minnesota Wild, and he is top power play in Minnesota. Been playing pretty well, so definitely also a good add there. Then I have Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes, and with D'Angelo back, he's actually producing better than he did when he was getting top power play duties, which is kind of bizarre. But anyway, Slavin's someone who's getting some decent peripherals and putting up some points. So as long as he is, a solid add. Then I have Ben Sherratt of the Florida Panthers, who ever since they acquired him from Montreal, he's been playing really well, getting a point every couple games and putting up some really solid peripherals. So if that's what you need, definitely a good add there. Ryan Pulock is also a really good add. He's someone who's putting up some solid blocks numbers, and he's getting a point every now and then as well. Then I have Dmitry Orlov of the Washington Capitals playing PP2 there. Been putting up some pretty solid peripherals all year and is managing to put up points every now and then as well. Colton Parayko is another guy for the safe floor that he gives, and potentially could put up points every few games. Nick Leddy is someone that I really like right now because he's getting top power play time with Torrey Krug out. Doesn't put up really any peripherals, but if he's putting up points, he's doing well for you, and he's on a 3-game point streak, so let's see how that goes. Then I have Mattias Ekholm, who's playing way better now. At the beginning of the season, he was so bad. Just a waste of a roster spot, but he's finally starting to, play semi-decently, and therefore he's worthy of a roster spot if you can add him. Then I have Bowen Byram, who just came back from his concussion injury, I guess you can call it, and he's someone that I'm potentially throwing a dart at if I'm desperate for a defenseman in a deep league. Then I have Hampus Lindholm, who's been putting up some points as of late and is putting up some decent peripherals, so if that's what you need, he's honestly not the worst add. And Brenton Montour, who's been putting up some solid numbers in Florida lately, been putting up some points. Florida's just been scoring so many goals, so Montour by default is getting points, and he's putting up some semi-decent peripherals as well, so I don't mind the add there. And Alexandre Carrier is a really underrated defenseman, only 3% rostered, been putting up some points and some decent peripherals, so if you're in a deep league, he may be an option. Travis Hamonic is the last guy on this list, only 1% rostered, and he seems to be putting up some decent peripherals once again in Ottawa, so if you're super desperate, he's an option. Now jumping into the categories league section of this video, and if you need to make sure you win your shots on goal category, if you're behind by a little bit or you're only ahead by a bit, it may be worth adding the guys that I have on this list to make sure that you come out on top in the category. The number 1 guy to add would be Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres, 60% rostered, shoots 3.4 times per game, so over 2 games that you'll get him this weekend, he'll probably shoot 6 or 7 times, which may be enough to help you secure your win in that category. Then Jeff Skinner shoots 3.3 times per game, Tuck shoots 2.9, Rodriguez 2.9, Eriksson Ek 2.9, Nichushkin 2.8, Jeff Carter 2.7, and Craig Smith 2.6, although lately he's been shooting a lot more, so definitely not a bad add if all the guys above him are taken. And then for blocks, the number 1 guy to add is Ryan Pulock, 2.5 blocks per game, Parayko 2.2, Hamonic 2.2, Jacob Middleton 2.0, and Brian Dumoulin 1.9. If you need hits, the number one guy to add, and it's not close, guys, it's Radko Gudas, 4.7 hits per game, and he's been hitting even more than that lately, which is absolutely insane. Then Cal Clutterbuck, 3.9, Jeannot, 3.6, Aston Reese, 3.5, Matt Martin, 3.5, and Nicolas Delorier, 3.4. And then for faceoff wins, the number one guy to add is Ryan Getzlaf, who wins 9.8 faceoffs per game on average, which is really, really good, assuming that he is healthy. And then Jordan Stahl, 9.6, Pajot, 9.4, Eric Sinek, 9.0, Colton Sissons, only 5% rostered, 9.0, Ryan Johansson, 8.6, Jeff Carter, 8.4, Josh Norris, 8.1, Robert Thomas, 7.7, Sazika, 7.3, and Brock Nelson, 6.7. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and hopefully you guys win your matchups this week. Good luck, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.